What's up, Rob?
I'm doing well, man. Just had my dose of church, and now for the all the other information that I need.
Yes.
Steve, the Orioles minor league. I don't think there's ever been a time where Oriole fans were more intrigued with what was going on down in the farm. I think your popularity has soared over the last year and a half because everyone has questions for you. My first question is a young man by the name of Felix Bautista.
This is an intriguing name and an intriguing story, Rob. He was released by the Marlins in 2015. They had signed him 3 years previously. The Orioles signed him in 2016, and look at what he is doing on the farm this year. 26 years old, from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. All good bullpens have seemed like they roll out pitcher after pitcher who throws 97 to 100. That is what Felix Bautista can do, and that is why he's buzzed his way through 3 levels of the Oriole farm this year. The other night at Norfolk, this is his AAA debut, he's touching high 90s. He's blowing hitters away with heat. He's throwing breaking balls down in the zone. It was a dominant performance. And so if you look at the Oriole farm, Rob, 30 innings or more strikeout rate. Number 3, Grayson Rodriguez. Number 2, DL Hall. Number 1, the guy we just saw, 16 strikeouts per 9 innings, 2.6 hits per 9. He's given up 9 hits in 31 innings. These are crazy stats. Now, here's the catch. The walk rate is 6.6. He's having trouble throwing consistent strikes and commanding it, but he's been so good and so overpowering at lower levels that his ERA for the year is 0.86. So the Orioles are intrigued enough to raise him all the way to AAA, maybe to even take a look at Baltimore this year, Rob, because he would have to be protected from the Rule 5 draft this December. So maybe they want to take a look, see what they have, and see if this kid who's kind of come out of nowhere this year might be able to harness that command and help them maybe even this year or beyond.
Steve, you know what the organization thinks about you when you go from A to AA to AAA in 1 year. And what I loved about him, that last pitch that we saw, that curveball that looked like it was going at the batter's ear and dropped down on the inside of the plate. So he's a flamethrower, but it looks like he's learned some other wrinkles as well.
He has. And I mean, like most pitchers, it's repeating delivery. His misses, when I've watched him a little bit this year, have been up in the zone. He gets under the ball a little bit. So you got to work with that arm, man. You're talking 98, 99, 100. You got to work with this. 26 years old. And so we'll see. Will he ever have good enough command to consistently get out major league hitters? We don't know that. But we do know that the best teams in baseball have a bunch of guys they roll out in their bullpen that throw this hard. The Orioles are trying to get to that. So here's a guy one step away from the majors who can throw like that.
Delmarva has a starter, just 20 years old, I believe. His name is Gene Pinto. What do you know about him?
This kid has really had quite a year. Gene Pinto, Rob, was a player the Orioles acquired, as you see there, for Jose Iglesias. At the time, it seemed like he was kind of a throw-in. They're taking a flyer on this young pitcher from Venezuela. But at age 20, he went to the Florida Complex League this year, pitched to a 1.80 ERA, mid-90s fastball, and was considered the best arm the Orioles had in that league amongst their 2 teams. So they bumped him to Delmarva, where he's starting, and he's throwing very well. A 2.45 ERA in his first 3 starts for the Shorebirds, an 0.95 whip, 188 average against. Again, he can touch 95, 96. He's got a repeatable delivery, pretty smooth mechanics, just 20 years old, already again at low A. So this is someone to watch. And unlike the pitcher we just showed, he has good command, 2.3 walks, 11.7 strikeouts, mid-90s, age 20. So what's not to like about Gene Pinto? Someone to watch for the future. And, you know, the Orioles really like Stallings, who they got in that trade. But this other pitcher they got, he's starting to make a name for himself, too.
Steve, you never have too much pitching, and I'm not suggesting that at all. But it seems to me every week, if I either follow you on the website or listen to you here, you're introducing me to another pitcher or 2 that wasn't even on my radar. I got to be honest with you. Gene Pinto wasn't on. Bautista was. Pinto wasn't. Does it seem like the Orioles are really starting to develop and acquire some pitchers that they can use down the road?
Yeah, they are. And I mean, again, when these trades happen, Rob, we all say the same thing, even the media, that we don't know every young kid on every team. So we're like, Gene Pinto, who is that? You know, we look up his record and we know his name. Then we say, okay, started out FCL. He's getting some guys out. Then they bump him to Delmarva. Now he's put together 3 pretty good starts. So, I mean, that's exciting stuff. And again, let him probably finish out a strong season at Delmarva. They probably bump him to high A next year. And I mean, 20 years old. So in 2 years, he could be AA, AAA, knocking on the door at 22. You would have a young, talented pitcher who could get there maybe younger than some guys do.
Now, my last player, a player that I have to display some patience with, not so much because of what he's doing, but because he's one of my favorite players, and I can't wait to see him up here. And it's going to be a couple of years probably. 20-year-old Gunnar Henderson.
Well, here's what we want to talk about with Gunnar today, Rob. His average has dropped to 205 at Aberdeen. But here's the stat that I think we really should look at, and I think the Oriole organization does. His OPS is 682. So he slumped a little bit at Aberdeen since they bumped him from Delmarva. But if you look at league average for that league, the league average OPS is low 700s. He's 682. He's not that far below. Here's where he is below the league. Age. He just turned 20. He's 3.5 years younger than that high A league he's playing in at Aberdeen. So in baseball, they have a term, he's being challenged appropriately right now. He's hanging in there with his at-bats. He's competitive. He's driving the ball at times. He's striking out a little too much. But, Rob, he's learning and growing. He's being challenged at that level. And the other night at Delmarva, or at Aberdeen, he made an incredible play up the middle. And I think we're going to see it here. Watch him go to his left. The dive, quick gets up, and the gun to first. I mean, this is the kind of defense this kid can play on the left side. He's played about half his games this year at short, about half at third. Remember, he turned 20 in June, and he's playing high A like Pinto is just 20. So that's exciting. He's holding his own. And he's got, you know, you compare him to a guy like Westberg, who's 2 or 3 years older, playing alongside him there in Aberdeen. Westberg has many more baseball experiences than Gunnar. You know, he's a little more mature kid, although Gunnar's very mature. And so Gunnar at 20 is not that far behind Westberg, who's a college drafted guy. So you got to look at 3.5 years under league average, but not that far under league average OPS right now. So the average is low. We know that. But the Orioles feel like he's holding his own. He's being appropriately challenged. Yeah. And this kid's future is bright.
I'm so glad you brought up his defense, because that's the thing that I'm more concerned about right now, the hitting will come. Steve Melewski, if you want to find out more about the minor leagues, you can go to MASNsports.com. This man covers it all. Thank you very much, Steve. Enjoy the game.